Hello friends, I hope you're having a great day. I'm glad you clicked on this video because we are going to make some fantastic rustic Christmas trees for your decor. One is not so rustic, but it's beautiful. I'm going to give you a sneak preview of my favorite, surprise, surprise, super rustic. You're going to be amazed at how simple this is to make. So let's get started. These first two DIYs, we're going to start out with these pieces that I cut out with my miter saw and my jigsaw. And yes, they look a little bit like Swiss cheese, but they are going to be some beautiful trees you can put in your home decor. I was inspired by these from some I saw on Etsy, and they are going to be super easy. We're going to start with some beadboard paint by DIY, and I'm going to give this first one good coat. Then I'm going to take these laser cut stars, wood stars that I got from Dollar Tree. I bought a bunch of them when they had them because, you know, if you buy one package, you might as well buy 5 because they may not have them next time that you go in. That's my mentality. That's why I have so much in my stash. So I'm sizing them up, picking the ones that I want, and I'm going to leave them just like this. I'm not going to paint them. Now I'm going to get the Winter Botanist transfer book from Iron Orchid Designs. This is a beautiful book, and I'm going to take just these little vines with berries on it. They are very delicate, very beautiful, and I think they're going to really look pretty on this tree. And I'm going to just imagine how they're going to look, and then, well, before I do anything else, I guess, maybe I got this out of order when I edited, I don't know. I'm going to take my center punch, and I'm going to start some holes where I want to punch holes because we're going to put some little eye hooks to hang these little stars. So this little center punch just helps so that you can get your screw started in there. So I'm going to use my little needle nose pliers and a little skewer to help me get that in there because, you know, my fingers are a little big to get that in there, and these are tiny little eye hooks. So this is what I do to get that in there. Super easy. And then now we're going to put the transfers on. Okay, so I'm going to lay it out there but not touch it down. I'm just hovering it over to see where I want it, because once you touch it down, those transfers are going to stick. So this is how I want to put it on there. So now I'm going to commit. Oh, go ahead and commit. And then I'm just going to take the stick that comes with it and just press it down onto my project. I do not seal my projects before I put transfers on. There are creators that swear by it. Usually when I do that, I have more trouble. I usually just take a clean cloth, usually my little scrap of a t-shirt, and just buff it, a clean one, and buff it smooth where there's no debris on it. And that works really good for me. These little transfers with little intricate designs, little thin fine lines, sometimes you have to be a little more patient and rub a little more firmly around the edges to get them to stay on, but just be patient and go slow, and your project will turn out beautiful just like this one did. Now I'm going to take some of those pieces that I cut off and just have them come in from the sides and put them in the smaller areas. That's the beauty of these transfers, is they are so flexible. I'm just going to continue around until I get the look that I desire. You see, I just laid that down. I used my X-Acto knife to slice off the part I didn't want, because we don't want to waste any of these little pieces, because you can see how I've just added tiny little pieces here and there to fill in. And see, I just cut that little piece in half, just added a little piece there, add a little piece here, a little piece there, until you get it to look like you want. I'm going to take some clear wax. This is the Best Dang Clear Wax by Dixie Belle. And I'm going to clear wax the front and the back, all the little nooks and crannies, and then wipe it with that clean cloth, my little clean cloth. And then I just took a little piece of embroidery floss, and I'm going to struggle and finally put a little piece of tape on the end and just tie it to the eyelet screw. I'm going to do both of them that way, and I'm going to add a little bit of some super glue, fix-all glue that I get at Dollar Tree, and add it to the top of that so it'll hang correctly, and that is not going to come undone, that thread is going to stay right where I want it to stay. I'm going to use that little skewer to apply it, and because this is like little, it's kind of close quarters in there. Yeah, I'm going to use the back of my little tweezers. I'm going to lay this under here, these scissors under there, so that it will dry in the right place. And here's how it turned out. For the second piece, I used Fancy Farm Girl. It's a beautiful green, and then I'm going to take Fancy Farm Girl and Monet's Garden, and I'm just going to put a little bit in this little plastic lid. This came off of yogurt. Don't throw away anything, guys. Just be a hoarder like your girl here, and it comes in handy. You don't have to buy expensive paint palettes that you have to wash out. Actually, I did wash this one out, but it washed up easy. If it doesn't wash up easy, I chunk it in the trash. But if it will wash up easy, then we save it. But I don't want to throw things in the trash if I had to pay for it, right? So I'm just going to use this old chippy brush and dry brush. Now, this IOD Holly and Pine stamp is new to me. It's new to this collection as this video was airing. Now, I'm just going to prepare it and use a fine grit sandpaper and sand off the new. That's what I say. I'm sanding off the new so it will stamp nicely. I'm using the IOD black ink. I love it. It's a permanent ink. It doesn't smear. It dries nicely, and once it's dry, it is permanent. I'm wiping off the edges so that I don't have any excess on there that I don't want. I'm going to press down firmly, not moving it so it doesn't smear. Lift straight up, and look at that beautiful stamp. Gorgeous. Now, I'm going to use these, forget what they're called, but anyway, yes, I'll think of it in a minute. I'm going to put it on there, and it's going to protect the part we already stamped, and then we can put this stamp on there right on top of it. I'm going to use my little hockey puck. It's a stamp press, and then it will only stamp so it looks like it's coming out from behind it. Now, I'll clean my stamp really good, and I'm just going to press it right back down on that sheet where it belongs. I'm going to dry it really good with my heat gun so it doesn't smear. Now it's permanent, and I'm going to get another one of those stamps off of that same collection. These are holly and berries, and this one is beautiful. And I'm stamping it up, wiped it off, decided, oh, I need to add a little bit more ink, wipe that off, and I'm going to stamp it down the same way. Decide where I want it, stamp it down, don't let it move so it doesn't smear. So pretty. I'm going to use I cannot think what this is. I know y'all are just hollering it at me. You're just telling me what it is. It's a mask. That's what it is. I knew it would come to me. I'm just going to put the stamps on until it looks like I want it to look. It's just personal preference. So you just stamp however much you want or how little you want until it looks like you want. And then we're going to hang our little rusty crusty snowflake with this little hook the same way that we did the stars on the previous tree. But just one. I'm going to make a little knot in the top. I did open that little eye hook. I opened it up with my pliers, and I'm going to knot this at the top so we have a little loop and cut off the excess really close, and then I'm going to hook it in there. That was a little bit easier. So then I'm going to close that hook back up. That was easier. And then I did put some glue in there, and then I made a little twine bow and just put that cute little twine bow up there on top because, you know, we're going to cover up that little hook. And put some clear wax on it to seal it because we want to seal in all our hard work and all our beauty. And that's it for this one. these were the end pieces that were left over from that first tree that I cut out. So don't throw away the end pieces and the leftovers. And look at that beautiful TDS, I think it's rice paper. I don't know the difference in rice paper, tissue paper, decoupage paper. Anyway, all I know is it's beautiful and we're going to decoupage it on here. But first we're going to glue these two pieces together using some Titebond Quick and Thick. That's a great multi-purpose glue that is super tight and super quick. But just in case, because I'm a little extra, we are going to put this piece of a paint stir stick that I had cut down for a previous project, and this was the leftover piece. You know, we don't throw anything away because look, we needed it. And one extra step, because we don't want it to go anywhere, I'm going to staple it down. This thing is going to be sturdy. Now I'm going to take Cotton by Dixie Belle. I was out of beadboard, and Dixie Belle, I have a Dixie Belle distributor that lives just down the road, so it was easier than trying to get it shipped to me. And this beautiful TDS paper. We are going to cut it down to size and keep those extra pieces because we are not going to waste anything. We might need something for a small project sometime, and look at that cute little snowman we just put aside. Now we are going to use some Mod Podge in that little dish over there, and we're going to spritzy spritz, give our little paper a spritzy spritz like Brandy over at the DIY Struggle says. This is her website that I got this paper from. It will be linked in the description box below. It's in every one of my description boxes because her website is amazing. She has some amazing products, so be sure and go check her out. I also have Sammy at unicorndustdesigns.com linked down there. She sells DIY products and IOD products, Saltwash, and thrifted items. They both have beautiful websites, so be sure and check them out. This fan brush that I'm using is also a TDS fan brush, and all fan brushes are not created equal, just let me tell you. So I'm just applying the Mod Podge in little sections and smoothing down that wet paper, and I have 0 wrinkles. It is flawless, my friends. I let it dry completely, and then I'm going to take my little finger sander and go in a downward motion, straight down, and it will peel that off and make a really nice crisp edge. Occasionally it will take your paint off on the edge, so you have to be careful not to sand too much. You also could use an X-Acto knife if you wanted to get a crisp edge and not have that sanded rough rustic edge, but this works fantastically. Okay, now let's use some Titebond Quick and Thick and glue these little snowflakes down to our project. I painted these with the Cotton by Dixie Belle as well, and I sealed the tops of them with that Mod Podge when I was using the Mod Podge to decoupage with. I don't know that I showed you that, but that happened. I talked too much and then I don't remember what I had on film and what I didn't. But I am using that Titebond with this little brush because it makes it easy just to, you know, dab it onto the back. And then I'm realizing that those white snowflakes are not showing up on this project at all. So I had this bright idea to take some Hey Sailor by DIY and just dry brush around the edges to try to outline it and make it pop. Well, that didn't really work either. So then I took this sponge and decided I would just dab around the snowflakes to make that work. Well, that didn't work that great either, but I can't pull them off because I will rip that beautiful paper, and I'm not wasting that paper. Could have sanded it off and started over, but we're not doing that because it's beautiful and it looks fine. So we're just going with it. I did not paint the back of this project. I may go back and do it later. I was trying to get this out in time to get it in this video. I hope that you like this one as much as I do. I just wanted to pop in. I hope you're enjoying these Christmas tree DIYs and how simple they are to make from scraps. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I am so glad that you are here. If you love rustic, if you love scrap wood, spindles, a little chiffon ribbon, some crocheted lace ribbon, thrift makeovers, just making budget-friendly home decor that you can make it on your own, you are in the right place. Let's get back to crafting. A couple more little pieces of scrap wood, and we're going to use Sawmill Gravy by Dixie Belle. It's a beautiful khaki color, and we are going to use the same method that we've been using, just a little bit of the Titebond Quick and Thick and hot glue to stick these together, and it's going to hold really nicely. And I'm going to use Sweet Pickins milk paint in the color of artichoke. I'm going to mix equal parts of paint and warm water. I'm just using a teaspoon because I don't need very much of this paint. It's a small project. I'm going to mix it really well and set it aside to thicken up. I'm going to take this little wood dice that I got at Dollar Tree. I'm going to sand it down a little bit. It felt like it had a little bit of a finish to it. So I'm just going to want to sand that off because I'm going to use Dark Wax by DIY to finish this little wood piece. I'm going to put Dark Wax on it. I'm going to buff it out, and I give it 2 coats. I actually did it twice because I want it to be a little bit dark. I could have painted it first and then dark waxed it, but I really did want a little bit of the wood grain to show through. So this is how it ended up, and I'm going to show you how it settles down in those crevices, and it looks absolutely beautiful. I love how this is going to be the cutest little trunk on this tree. When we get through, you're going to love it. I'm going to take this milk paint, and you can see I'm going to show you the consistency. It looks really thin. It makes you a little bit nervous to think about using it this thin, but it works good. I didn't get a ton of crackle when I did it, but once I sanded it, it's the perfect look. It is exactly what I wanted. So I just gave it a nice, good coat, and it went on really nice. It was thin, but it really went on good. And I wasn't looking for full coverage. It did give me good coverage, but I was putting it on very haphazardly, as you can see here. And then I used my heat gun, and I dried it down, and I did both sides. So I wasn't seeing a whole lot of crackle, and I tried to force it and leave that heat on it a long time. I put the heat gun really close to it. I was really trying to get some crackle. It did in a few little places, but then once I took my little sanding block and I thought, well, I'll just distress it a little bit, that's when you can really see the chippy goodness with this. So milk paint is a little bit, sometimes it's fickle. I will call it a little bit fickle. So where I just went ahead and sanded it, I just kind of slowed this down a little bit so you could see it turned out really good. I had this pick that I got on clearance one year after Christmas, and I'm just kind of disassembling it and putting it together how I want it across the bottom. And same with these little berries. I think I got them at Hobby Lobby on clearance after Christmas. And yeah, I'm just going to pull them apart and let you see here how I'm just going to take these little berries and poke them in there, glue them in. Again, just like all of our DIYs, this is personal preference. I'm just trying to give you some inspiration here of things that you can do with some scrap wood. Just make some triangles, make them look like trees, put some greenery on it, put some Christmas greenery on it, put some little pine cones. If you had a garland, you could put a few pieces of garland across the bottom, put some pine cones and berries on, and voila, there you go. So I'm just going to put these in here until I like the way it looks, and then I'm going to glue that little wooden die on the bottom, that little wooden block on the bottom, and this one is finished. So let me know what you think about this one. I cut some trees out of some old fencing for a future video, and these were the scraps. So we're going to use them in this video. And then I had this little tiny hinge. It's so adorable. But first we're going to make this little hinge rusty crusty with our Dixie Belle iron patina paint. We're going to use a little bit of the iron and the bronze, and we're going to make it look like it's old rusty crusty. We're going to also use the green spray that goes along with this system. If you've never seen it before, you have to do 2 coats. The first coat you let dry completely. Now, I'm not looking for full coverage because we just want it to look like this has rusted. So I'm just going to dab a little bit of both colors randomly on there. I'm going to dry it with my heat gun, being careful not to touch it because it's metal, it'll be hot. And then once it's dry, I'm going to dab a second coat on there, just randomly, wherever I want to. I'm just pouncing it on there. I don't want to put big globs of it so that you can see me dabbing it on my paper first, and then I'm doing the screws as well. And then I'm going to spray it with that green spray, and then I'm going to dry it with my heat gun a little bit, and then I set it outside in the sun to dry completely. And then once it's dry completely, we can use it. While it's drying though, we are going to glue these two pieces together with our Titebond Quick and Thick and our hot glue. I do like to use the dowel rod method where we, drill the holes and stick them together. But today I just didn't have it in me. So we are going to use this little piece of a spindle. This was from one of those longer spindles, and this was just a little piece that was left over and cut off. It was just a little piece of scrap. I decided not to throw it away, and I'm glad I didn't because it's going to be perfect for this little tree trunk. I'm using the Dark Wax by DIY, and then you can see here I'm just painting it on with an old chippy brush that I use for dark wax, and then wipe it back a little bit with my cloth. I'm going to sand this little wood round down. These are those little rustic wood rounds you can get in a package at Hobby Lobby or online on Amazon, and then I'm just going to make it a little bit smooth and then put a little bit of dark wax on it. Then I'm going to marry the two with a little bit of Titebond and hot glue. Same method of gluing that we've done this entire video, and it works great. The Titebond is a permanent hold, but until it dries, which it dries in about 10 minutes, but we can be a little impatient crafters sometimes, right? I'm going to press it down firmly, and then I like to use a paintbrush or a wet wipe and wipe away the excess glue that oozes out. And then we're going to clear wax. I'm going to use the DIY clear wax because I love the look that it gives to this wood. It's has a little bit more of an oil. It's a creamier, oilier wax. So I love the way that it brings out the natural wood tones. And so I love the way it makes the scrap wood look. Now here's how this little hinge looks. It's not so shiny anymore. It looks a little rusty crusty, and I love it. We're going to use our center punch to punch our holes so that our little screws are going to be easy to screw in there. This thing is not sharp. It's not an awl. It's called a center punch, and you can get them on Amazon. I think it's in my Amazon store if you're interested. I'm trying to show you. It just makes a little divot in your wood, and then the screws go in very easily. So we're just going to drill our 4 little screws in there, and our little hinge is going to look like it's holding our tree together. Then we're just going to glue our little base on. But first, I decided we wanted a star on top. Now, these stars are not flat across the back, so they're difficult to glue down to anything. But they do have a little hole in the top because they're supposed to be little ornaments. So I'm going to take this little tack, and it was a brass tack, but I wanted it to look a little more rustic. So I sanded it and waxed it, and now I'm just going to nail it to the top. I thought it would be cute not to nail it all the way in so that it would like kind of dangle a little bit, but I went ahead and nailed it all the way in. I'm just going to use some Titebond here because I'm going to be able to have time to let it sit and dry, wipe off the excess, and this is done, and it's my absolute favorite of this whole video. Let me know which is your favorite. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. If you liked it and you liked what you saw, please give this video a thumbs up because it really helps my channel. Also, I would like for you to leave a comment down in the comment section below. Even if you just drop an emoji, that lets me know that you are here and I can comment back to you. We can have a little conversation down there, get to know each other. If that's not your jam, just drop an emoji. I'm cool with that. Until next time, I want you to remember to be still and know that He is God.